Well, good evening from the East Coast. My name is Jeff Westling. I am a volunteer with the Boy Scouts of America and Sea Scouts BSA. And it's a great privilege this evening to welcome all of our Sea Scouts across the country and around the world to an opportunity that has been presented by the United States Coast Guard Academy. It's my distinct honor to introduce the session this evening as an alumni of the Coast Guard Academy. I am a retired Coast Guard captain that has served in my youth as a Boy Scout, having attained the rank of Eagle Scout. I attended the Coast Guard Academy during between my junior and senior year in high school with the Academy Introductory Mission, and was introduced to that program by the Coast Guard Auxiliary while at a Boy Scout event. And that relationship between the Coast Guard Auxiliary and now with the Sea Scouts, it's a natural fit. And so having had that opportunity and to serve with the Coast Guard at the National Scout Jamborees in 2010, 2013, and 2017, it really reinforced that the mission and the motto of the Coast Guard so cleanly aligns with that of all of the Scouts BSA programs, including the Sea Scouts. And that is that motto of being prepared from the Scouts BSA and Semper Paratus, always ready with the U.S. Coast Guard. And so this evening, I would like to welcome Captain Michael Fredie, the Director of Admissions from the Coast Guard Academy. He has presented a special opportunity for us to learn about the Coast Guard accessions programs, as well as officer career paths that are available upon commissioning, whether you graduate from the Coast Guard Academy, Officer Candidate School, or the various direct commission programs. And Captain Fredie will be able to discuss a little bit about those opportunities. But our emphasis tonight is going to be to discuss the Academy Introductory Mission, and more importantly, the life and the expectations placed on cadets as they work their way for commissioning in the United States Coast Guard. Captain Fredie, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Captain Westling, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I also like to thank all the members from the Sea Scout program that made this possible. So I just want to say this is a special and tremendous opportunity, and I hope to answer any questions and present some information that might be new to everybody. So thank you very much. I am a 1996 graduate of the United States Coast Guard Academy. And prior to coming to the Coast Guard Academy, I went to the Naval Academy Prep School for a year of prep and was able to prepare for my journey, the 200-week journey that cadets have. And this is really a special place. Although I'm not on the Academy campus right now, I'm transmitting from home. The Coast Guard Academy is not too far away from where I live right now, but I lived about 2 hours away from the Coast Guard Academy. And to be honest with you, in high school, I really didn't have the Coast Guard on my radar all the way through my sophomore year. I was really focused on joining the Marine Corps, maybe going to the Naval Academy and becoming a Marine that way. And it was really a Boy Scout troop leader that was a teacher and a reservist in the Coast Guard that actually introduced me to the Coast Guard Academy. He was my shop teacher, and he heard that I was interested in the Coast Guard, interested in the Navy, and asked me if I knew anything about the Coast Guard. And I said, no, I'd never heard much about the Coast Guard. And so he's like, well, we're going to take a trip up to Boston and go to one of the 270-foot Coast Guard cutters in Boston. If you'd like to join the Boy Scout troop and go on board and tour that ship, I'd love to take you with me. And I said, great, I'll go. So that's what I did. In high school, I took that trip with the Boy Scout troop to Boston. We went to the Coast Guard cutter Escanaba. We toured the ship, walked through all the different levels of the ship, got to the bridge, got to ring the bell, look at the big gun. And then they took us down to the mess deck for lunch. And they served us chicken parmesan. Chicken parmesan is my favorite meal, and it was delicious. So I was like, the Coast Guard's awesome. So after that, I found out a lot more about the Coast Guard, did some more research, and looked into the Coast Guard Academy and was able to apply. Didn't get in the first time, didn't get in the second time, but I did go to the Naval Academy Prep School after applying a couple of times. And then finally, I was able to earn entry into the Coast Guard Academy, where I studied government and was able to graduate in 1996. After that, I went out to the service, and I can tell you this, the Coast Guard is really a special and unique service. And it blew my mind of all the opportunities as a junior officer that the Coast Guard and the government in the United States gave us, and able to do the missions of the Coast Guard. And so part of what I'm here to do today is just talk about that path to the Coast Guard Academy and give you some insight on as you're making your journey and trying to figure out how you fit into the world and what you want to do long term. Hopefully it can answer some questions on how to apply to the Coast Guard Academy. And I'll start off by saying everybody that's online should apply to the Coast Guard Academy. There's no doubt in my mind. It doesn't cost anything to apply, so you should take that opportunity. We really like seeing Sea Scouts and Boy Scouts and Sea Cadets apply, because that definitely shows leadership and community service. It shows belonging to an organization and dedicating your time to get the mission accomplished. And that's something that really stands out from just the standard applicant that you see that may not have an opportunity to do certain things or not take the opportunity to do certain things. So your added liking for the sea and its lore is something that we really like to grasp onto when we look at applicants. So everybody that's online that is in high school or have just recently graduated and looking for an opportunity to try to loop back and get into the Coast Guard Academy, that would be something that I would strongly suggest, because we definitely like that experience that you bring to the table. But before I start my presentation, I also want to introduce two members of my team from the Coast Guard Academy Admissions Office. Emily Torsney is a Lieutenant Junior Grade, and Lieutenant Junior Grade John Hu. They both work in the admissions office, and they probably would be your admissions officers if you're from the New England area or from the Midwest and Great Lakes area. And they'll be here answering any questions online. You can use your chat function. I think John advertised that. If you have any questions as the presentation goes, they'll be able to answer those. They're bringing a wealth of knowledge. They're bringing enthusiasm and a whole bunch of excitement to the table. And they're a lot younger than me. They just came from the fleet, and now they're working in the office, trying to recruit the best and brightest from across the country. So please take advantage of their expertise and ask those questions. So I'm going to go ahead and try to set up this presentation here with sharing my screen. So bear with me. Let's see. Okay. So I'll ask John, can you see the presentation?
Captain, yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, John. All right, so as I introduced, I'm Captain Michael Fredie, the Director of Admissions of the United States Coast Guard Academy. I've been here since 2018 and have been privileged to be able to help construct the classes of 2022, 2023, and 2024 that are all now here at the Coast Guard Academy. And now we are constructing the class of 2025, and really excited to see this class form. So as I said, I grew up in Hingham, Massachusetts, which is about 2 hours from the Coast Guard Academy, and never visited the Coast Guard Academy. The first day I ever set foot on the Coast Guard Academy campus was when my parents dropped me off to start off my Naval Academy Prep School experience, because you start here first and then you go off to the Naval Academy Prep School. So I've loved this campus. I've loved everything about the Coast Guard Academy, because it opened up the Coast Guard service to me. And everything that happens here is all about developing leaders of character, and making sure that they're prepared prior to showing up at their first unit so that they can lead with distinction and lead with honor. And that's a unique characteristic of the service academies that are out there. But before I start diving into the Coast Guard Academy specific, I want to talk about the Coast Guard. So as you can see from this slide here, the United States is protected by a number of armed forces. And so when you talk about what those services are, we have the world's best Air Force, the world's best Navy, the world's best Army, the world's best Marine Corps, without question, the world's best Coast Guard, and now we have the Space Force. Well, those Department of Defense resources, Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Marine Corps, their main focus is projecting the American force and the American might overseas. And they're prepared to do what it is in order to keep America's freedom protected as best possible. The Coast Guard is very unique because not only do we have an international responsibility, but we have mostly a domestic responsibility to carry out the missions that we do. We're not a member of the Department of Defense. We are a member of the Department of Homeland Security. So that affords us some special privileges in order to do the duties and responsibilities that we have, as you know. And so that's a unique characteristic about our service. There's 5 main focuses within what we do for the country on a daily basis: maritime safety, maritime security, mobility, environmental protection, and national defense. That kind of summarizes what our mission sets are. But when you're talking about our actual statutory missions, we have 11 of those. And as the world knows, we are the world's best Coast Guard. If you go into any country that has their own Coast Guard, they model their service very closely to ours, even to the point where they have a racing stripe on their ships and their small boats. So that says something. We have a reputation for being search and rescue experts. We also have the reputation for being the best maritime boarding operators on the high seas. There's no doubt about it. When you're talking about the evolutions that we go through day in and day out throughout the day and around the world, you'll see that we have a strong reputation for success and excellence. So when you're talking about the 11 statutory missions of the Coast Guard, search and rescue, which our history first formed from, rescuing people in peril at sea. That's what we do, and we do it very well, and we're known for that. Maintaining aids to navigation. This was a mission set that Emily and John took part in their last units, where it's important to make sure that the ships, not only for the US government, but also for commerce and private craft, that they're able to navigate in safe waters. So making sure that we have marked buoys and day boards and anything that's required for safe navigation, we're responsible for that. A very important mission, and very undersung to some extent. Not too many people know exactly that part falls under the Coast Guard. Marine safety is very important as well. When you're talking about safety standards, life vests, those types of things that are important to keeping people safe at sea, we're responsible for regulating those, as well as making sure that the laws that are on the books match what folks should have. Law enforcement is a big part of what we do day in and day out, whether it's close to shore or on the rivers or even offshore in the high seas. Law enforcement keeps us busy. When you're looking for somebody to enforce those laws and treaties, the Coast Guard is it. So when you're talking about the world being covered with 70% of water, it's important to have a strong maritime force to be able to do what it is that's necessary. And the Coast Guard definitely steps up to the plate in those law enforcement mission sets. Migrant interdiction is one of those law enforcement mission sets, but it's also very focused on the search and rescue and safety of life at sea. When you're talking about folks that are trying to escape unhappy situation from another country, there are folks that are trying to migrate into the United States illegally, and the Coast Guard is typically the first service or first units to be able to interdict those individuals and make sure that their lives are safe, as well as get them back to where they need to be. Drug interdiction has definitely come front and center in many of the newspaper articles and television announcements with regards to daily operations with the Coast Guard. As you can see from the top right-hand picture, that is a semi-submersible vessel off of South America, in which one of the Coast Guard cutters with their boarding teams were able to stop and board and find that there were drugs on board. So understanding that drug runners want to get their product to the streets of the United States because it's all about money, the Coast Guard has done an amazing job of making sure that those individuals fail, and that's critical. Living marine resources. So when you're talking about the world population growing and us trying to find ways to feed those individuals, the sea becomes more and more a part of our daily lives. So seafood, fish, a great opportunity to feed populations around the world. And there's laws that will regulate the type of species and how you catch fish. And there's a fishery service that's out there, but they're too small to be able to enforce those laws and make sure that people are doing what they should be doing. So the Coast Guard is employed to carry out living marine resource operations, fisheries boardings, and so on and so forth. We talked a little bit about marine environmental protection. When there's oil spills or vessels that run aground and start leaking whatever fuels are on board, the Coast Guard is the first to respond in order to contain any type of impact that would happen to the environment, in the marine environment, to make sure you limit the possibility of damaging ecosystems more than that they already have been impacted. So very important that we have specialists that will be able to handle those types of mission sets. Ports and waterways for security are very important when you're talking about critical infrastructure. It's important that we have safety nets and personnel that know how to guard and protect critical infrastructure to make sure that terrorists aren't successful in their desire to wreak havoc through destroying ports and making sure that our commerce is interrupted. Ice operations, very important, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner. That's a polar breaker. In order for commerce in the polar regions to occur, there has to be some way to break that ice so that those ships can get through. But in addition, those polar breakers have scientists on board. So when you're talking about global warming and some of the scientific discoveries that are found in the polar regions, it's important to have a service that tends to those needs. And the Coast Guard is the only for the United States that handles those types of operations on those polar regions. And then defense readiness, when you're talking about protecting the Navy in their most vulnerable positions. They have to go in and out of port. So the Coast Guard has a very important mission set of protecting those ships and those submarines, the aircraft carriers, from being targets of terrorist threats. So that would be one example of defense readiness, to making sure that that occurs, that there's protection there. So as you can see with those 11 statutory missions, we stay very busy, very busy every single day. And some of those statistics on an average day for the Coast Guard, we conduct 45 search and rescue cases on the average day. We save about 10 lives every day, save $1.2 million in property. That would be a sailing vessel or aircraft that may have crashed into the sea. We have the opportunity to be there to assist and save that property. We seize 875 pounds of cocaine and 214 pounds of marijuana on an average in a day. We conduct 57 waterborne patrols and critical maritime infrastructure. We interdict 17 illegal migrants on the average day. And there's some more statistics there. So you can just see, on average, we're busy. And when you're talking about a force that's just about the size of the New York City Police Department, 55,000 members strong, active duty, that's a lot of work to do for a small service. And so we definitely are worth our weight in gold, to say the least. And the United States definitely gets their work out of us on a daily basis. And that's where you all come in. You all come in because we need personnel to be able to do these missions. We need personnel that are dedicated and committed to the mission sets. And there's many ways to serve your country. And the Coast Guard is one of the best as far as I'm concerned, because we work every single day to protect the United States. And we work every single day to protect lives and property, regardless of what the mission is. So that's where the Coast Guard Academy comes into play. But before we talk about the Coast Guard Academy, I'm going to focus on our float mission set. So when you're talking about being one of the world's best maritime services, we definitely depend on our personnel as well as the ships that we carry out our mission set on. And if you don't know this, good. And if you do know this, that's good too. So this is just a refresher, but I just want to point out a couple of things. I talked about the buoy mission. What you'll see there is a buoy tender. You'll notice that it has a big boom on there. And to the right of that picture, you'll see what a buoy looks like, a very large structure that floats in the water and marks channels. And this is what Emily had done for most of her time on her first unit. But I want to point out that the buoy tenders their hulls are colored black. And the reason for that is that they're a work ship, and they tend to go up against those colored buoys on a frequent basis, and it leaves a lot of streaks and whatnot. So they want to make sure that it's a black color and it doesn't really show up when they do those buoy operations. So Emily can talk a little bit more about that. If you have any questions on buoy tending, she'll be able to answer those very well based off of her experience. So when you talk about a black hull ship, it's a working boat, and they definitely do some close quarters with some buoys and whatever else that they're working on. So that's something to remember. Then we get into the icebreakers. So typically larger vessels, because they have fairly decent cruise sizes, as well as helicopter resources and a whole bunch of other things that are important. But based off of the nature of their mission set, it's important to have a wide ship to be able to break ice. And the way that an icebreaker works is that it floats up above the ice and uses its weight to break the ice. So pretty cool mission set. Those are two examples of icebreakers that you see there with a penguin in the forefront. So the two examples there, 399 foot, the Polar Star, Polar Sea, those are two icebreakers that we've had. And then the Healy, that's the other one, the more modern one. Pretty awesome. But the red hull color is important because from a distance, you'll be able to see it pretty far. If that was anything other than red, it would be hard to see. So that's why icebreakers are colored red. John Hu, who's the other lieutenant junior grade that I introduced, he served on the Mackinac, which is a pretty interesting boat. It's a red hulled ship, but it's also a buoy tender to an extent, but it breaks ice as well. So John will be able to answer any questions on the Mackinac up there in the Great Lakes, and it's a pretty cool ship. We only have one of those, and he'll be definitely excited to talk about the Mackinac if you have any questions. All right. So then we get into the white hull ship. So typically if a cutter is colored white, it's a law enforcement vessel, or it carries on all the missions of the Coast Guard. So typically they're the faster ones, and they're set up for durations at sea. These here are faster patrol boats. These are the workhorses we have mostly in our fleet, are these types of patrol crafts. So on the right-hand side, the 110-foot patrol boat, those are getting decommissioned very fast, and to make way for the fast response cutter, the 154-footer. Pretty awesome ship. The newest ones are just now getting put out there at sea, but we have a number of those carrying out the functions. It's important to get out to the mission fast, respond to the mission, and then get back to shore and refuel, replenish, and get back out to the mission. So they stay out for shorter durations and do amazing work in law enforcement and marine resources and search and rescue. So very important there. And then at the bottom, you have the 87-foot patrol craft, very capable boat, can't stay out as long, smaller crew, but definitely fast to respond and to be able to get the job done. So Pretty cool stuff. And these are some of the types of vessels that you will be serving on immediately upon graduation from the Coast Guard Academy or whatever commissioning source that you go out to get your to become an ensign. So pretty cool stuff. And you can be in command of these as a junior officer. So the 87-foot patrol craft, that's typically a second tour operation. And then the fast response cutter, or you probably won't be around, the 110s won't be around for when you get out there, but those are lieutenant assignments. So typically third or fourth tour, you'd be able to compete for command for one of those. So a lot of responsibility to be in command of a cutter, but it is without question an outstanding opportunity to learn, to bring all the things that you've learned in the Coast Guard and at the Academy together to carry out the mission. Very cool stuff. This is our legacy fleet. These are the ships that are being decommissioned faster than we'd like to see them go. But with the decommissioning means that we're getting new ships. And so it's a very exciting time to be in the Coast Guard, because we're seeing these legacy vessels being decommissioned and making way for high-tech mission purpose ships that are going to take us into the future. So the 110-foot Coast Guard cutter, most of those came around in the 1980s, and those are being decommissioned. And sad to see them go, but the FRCs are definitely taking their place and doing a great job. The 210-foot Coast Guard cutter, I was stationed on as an operations officer. Very cool patrol craft, but very old. Like, those were created in the 1960s. So the fact that they're still in service says something. It means that they were built to last and do the mission set. So pretty awesome stuff, and sad to see those go, as those are being decommissioned one at a time and making way for their replacement. And then the 378-foot Coast Guard cutter, there is one left in the Coast Guard, and that will be decommissioned very soon. That's the Cutter Monroe. So the Monroe is definitely doing amazing stuff. I just talked with the XO, the executive officer, about a week ago, and they're up there doing Bering Sea Patrol. But that used to be the pinnacle for the Coast Guard with regards to the high endurance missions, very Navy focused, but they were able to do every single mission that we needed them to do. Very awesome class of vessel, and sorry to see those go. But here's what's exciting, is what they're being replaced with. So the 378-foot Coast Guard cutters have been replaced by the National Security Cutter. This is state of the art. As you can see, it is sleek, it is awesome, and it definitely carries a lot of small boats and helicopter capabilities that get the mission done. And so this is specifically designed for the missions that we do in the Coast Guard. The capabilities of these are just incredible. So the fact that the fleet is plussed up with these to carry out our future missions is very important. This is what you'll be serving on. This is what you'll be in command of as well. So very exciting, 418 feet, a larger ship than the 378, but a smaller crew when you're talking about what's on board and what's required to carry out the mission set. So very exciting times for the Coast Guard, and looking forward to seeing those continue to do amazing things in counter drug, search and rescue, and all the other missions that they're doing. And then the newest ship that has not been put out into the fleet as of yet is our offshore patrol cutter, 360 feet in length. We have not created one yet, but the money is there. They are being developed now, and those will be replacing the medium endurance cutters, the 210-foot Coast Guard cutter, and another cutter that I didn't show was a 270-foot Coast Guard cutter, which is equally as impressive. But I wanted to show you the latest and greatest of what should be going out there and what you'll be serving on when you join the Coast Guard. So that's what's out there for the fleet. I know I didn't talk about aircraft because I want to focus on our seagoing service. You can always get to the aircraft, but you should always serve on a ship first, as far as I'm concerned. But we do have some pretty awesome aircraft that are shipboard. As you can see in the back of this ship, you'll see the tail of it looks like a HH-60 Jayhawk, and pretty awesome aircraft there. But remember, going afloat is what the Maritime Service is what it's known for. You do that first, then you can go to flight school. So I'm going to talk about the Coast Guard Academy now. I talked about what the service is all about, where the direction's going. So now the question is, how do you get there? The United States Coast Guard Academy is home to all the officer corps. So you have the academy, and then you also have Officer Candidate School, which falls under the Leadership Development Center. All of those schooling occurs here on campus in New London, Connecticut, at the United States Coast Guard Academy. This is 103 acres of incredible opportunity and incredible instruction and just incredible leadership development. Nestled on the Thames River, across the way from us is the Groton Naval Base. So there's Navy submarines across the river, and we're smack dab in the middle between Boston and New York City. So it's about 2 hours north of us is Boston, about 2.5 hours south of us is New York City on the East Coast in Connecticut. So it's located in a perfect location on the river, 103 acres and 52 buildings. And we're developing, there's new structures being developed as we go. So that shows growth, it shows excellence, it shows we're here to stay. So that's the campus. That's a good top view of what it's all about. Easy to get to with all the airports and train stations and ferries that are local, and probably very picturesque in comparison to most schools across the country. So I just wanted to throw that out there as the United States Coast Guard Academy, which should be your future home for at least 4 years for your 200-week development as an officer. So the only way you can compete is if you apply. So I highly recommend you start considering that if you haven't already. All right. So why the United States Coast Guard? Well, it's one of the smallest service academies out of the Naval Academy, West Point, and the Air Force Academy. Those schools, their class sizes are about 1,500 students per class. That's what they bring in every year. At the Coast Guard Academy, we bring in about 250 students per year. And so very small in comparison. One class size at the Air Force Academy is larger than the whole student population at the Coast Guard Academy. So that's something to think about. If you like smaller schools, more personal attention, this is where you need to go. We're on par with the Merchant Marine Academy, but Merchant Marine Academy is down in New York, and it's not as nice and it's not as strong as the Coast Guard Academy, but it is a very good school. But that's my plug for the Coast Guard Academy. But anyways, like most service academies, we're highly selective. We bring in about 10 to 15% of our applicant pool. That's who gets selected. In the class of 2024, which was just selected this past year, 13% of the applicant pool was selected for attending the school. Through the service academies in general, you get about a $300,000 education tuition free. So it costs nothing to go. There is an initial allotment that's required for a computer and some basic needs, but for the most part, you're getting a $300,000 education for free. Pretty amazing. Not only that, you get paid while you go to school. So that's a pretty cool deal. It's not much, but it's enough to put in your bank account and get food on the weekends or whatever else. But the Coast Guard Academy provides just about everything that you'll need. Medical, dental, all those things are provided. Food, books, all that are provided for you, and you pay some of that through your own pay and benefits there. The one thing that's very good about service academies in general is that there's 100% job placement. So you are guaranteed a job, not only for one year, you're guaranteed for at least 5 years, because there is a 5-year obligation for the 4 years of education that you receive. So you got 5 years of guaranteed service, and that's pretty cool, 100% job placement. One thing that makes the United States Coast Guard Academy unique is that we have that humanitarian focused service. So once you go out and carry out your duties and responsibilities as a commissioned officer, you'll be focused on humanitarian type mission sets. If you choose to go into the direction of more aggressive posture, more military-like mission sets, that's an option that you have. And so that's pretty cool. It's not just going out there to carry out the weapons of war and such. It's more on the humanitarian aspects of taking care of the American population and protecting our borders. There are flight school options upon graduation. So about 20 students from each class will have the opportunity to go to flight school directly from graduation. This last class that will be upcoming graduating in May, the class of 2021, 20 students were selected for flight school, and they'll be going off to go down to Pensacola, the Navy flight school, right after graduation. So that's pretty exciting. There are opportunities after your first tour to reapply to flight school if you don't get picked up the first time. And that's where the majority of the students that get, or the officers that get selected for flight school come from after their first tour float. So one thing that's unique for the Coast Guard Academy is that 50% of the officer corps is really coming from the Coast Guard Academy. The other 50% is coming from Coast Guard Academy campus through Officer Candidate School and other accessions programs. When you're talking about the other service academies, only about 35% of their officer corps is really coming from their service academies. So that's pretty unique. In addition to that, a large number of those individuals that graduate from the other service academies, they get out after their obligation's over. Whereas the Coast Guard, 85% of the graduates stay in after their first commitment is done. So they'll do their 5 years and then love it so much, they want to stick around. So 85% of those who graduate from the Coast Guard Academy are going to stay in the service. That says something about job satisfaction. It says something about the opportunities that are presented out there. And it's pretty awesome. And the only way to find out is to do it yourself. So highly encourage you to apply again. We have one of the largest populations of females out of any service academies. 38% of our total student population is female, and that number is growing. Year after year, that number increases, and that says something about the service. The class of 2024 was made up of 39% females, and we're probably going to top that with the class of 2025 with a higher percentage. We also lead in diversity. 35% of the student population is underrepresented minorities. So that's pretty impressive, understanding we're up there with all the other service academies in terms of having a very diverse student population. There is a ton of postgraduate opportunities, and I know you're all focused on getting through undergrad, getting your bachelor's degree, but the postgrad opportunities are abound. If you want to become a lawyer, the Coast Guard will pay for that, and you will become a lawyer for the Coast Guard, and then be able to practice once your obligation is up if you desire to get out of the Coast Guard. There's a whole bunch of opportunities in your specialty field, and it's just a matter of saying that you want it and competing for it. So that's great. One thing that sets us apart from the other service academies is that we do not have a congressional nomination. So that's one thing that you don't have to do. You don't have to go to a senator or a member of Congress to ask for their permission to apply to the service academies. All you have to do is submit an application, and I will read it. I look at 100% of the applications, or whoever's in my position. If I'm not there when you apply, we look at 100% of the applications, and we look at you holistically. How are you going to add to the campus? How are you going to add to the Coast Guard when all is said and done? And we get very excited about every single applicant. So please take that into consideration when you're looking at applying to a service academy. Understanding this is a small service, as well as a small student population overall, we have a 1-to-7 teacher to student ratio. So pretty impressive in that respect. If you like having personal attention when it comes to learning, you're going to get that here. There's no doubt about it. Average classroom size is about 18 students. So very small classroom size. And again, that personal attention is there for you. And we are one of the top rated schools for the United States. We're #1 in our region. And when you look at all the other aspects of how we're viewed based off of what we offer each of the students, all the publications that are out there are rating us at the top. So take a look at that. I know I could talk about how great we are, but you got to figure that out for yourself and then reading some of the reports that change year after year. But for the most part, we're pretty consistent in showing that we're a top rated school based off of how we produce leaders of character. All right. Academic majors, we have 9. And the reason why we only have 9 is because our #1 customer is the United States Coast Guard. So when you're talking about the Coast Guard, depending upon certain skill sets, these are the 9 skill sets that they've asked us to produce leaders of character for. So mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, cybersecurity, naval architecture, marine engineering, marine and environmental science, operations research, computer analysis, management and government. Those are the 9 academic majors that we need to have students with skill sets. When they graduate, they will go out as officers with these skill sets and be able to carry that out with the mission that's out there, in addition to just being great leaders. So just because you have you focus on an academic major does not define what your career will be. If you're an electrical engineer, you could find yourself, as long as you want it, being a lawyer down the line. If you're a management major, you can be a deck watch officer, or you can be an engineering and training on a float ship if you desire. So that's something that's pretty unique as well. You're not pigeonholed based off of your academic major in terms of what you want to do in the service. The only area that might be one where you'll be focused on based off of your academic major is cybersecurity. We're building our inventory of cyber specialists. So the first graduates, which will be coming up here in the class of 2022, that graduate with cybersecurity as their academic major, they'll be going on to cybercom and they'll be doing amazing things there. So that's kind of the only one that's really focused on, at least for their first tour. But after that, they can go off and do operations afloat, operations ashore, whatever they desire. As long as they're strong performers, they'll be able to go out there and do amazing things. In addition to that academic major, predominantly STEM-focused majors, we are building leaders. And there's no doubt about it, the main focus of every graduate here is to become amazing leaders ready to carry out the mission sets, present and future mission sets of the Coast Guard. So overall, it's a 200-week program of building leaders of character. We start off with the Coast Guard core values of honor, respect, and the devotion to duty. That's our primary focus, is focusing on those core values, because that goes across whether you're officer or enlisted. Those are our core values of the Coast Guard, and it's important that we're living up to those. Then you dive in a little bit further here at the Coast Guard Academy with the Coast Guard Academy honor concept. Neither lie, cheat, steal, or attempt to deceive. Those are pretty important aspects of daily life here on campus. And for those 200 weeks, you are to determine whether or not those are important to you by living in an honor concept. And we want to make sure that folks are tested and tried, and that they are able to live through what it is that's expected of them when they become officers out there. So very important mission set of developing those leaders. And the core is basically running the core. So what I mean by that, although you're in different classes, you're basically ruling each other for the most part. So there's a regimental system, and the upper class, the seniors, or they're called the first class, are the ones that are in charge of making sure that the underclass are doing what they should be doing on a daily basis. And everybody within that leadership structure is making sure that folks are developing accordingly. So pretty exciting to understand that you're getting that leadership experience right here at the Academy by practicing it every single day and being a leader. And the most junior person is a leader too. Not only are they responsible for taking care of themselves, but also their classmates, leading by example. That's important, but the more you climb the ranks through your classes, from your 4th class year, which is your freshman year, to your 3rd class year, you're gaining experience, you're gaining responsibility as a leader, and that's a very important part of what it is that we do here at the Coast Guard Academy. So adding to that, one of the best parts of going to the academy is your summer experience. With the exception of your fourth class year. Fourth class year is a little tough as a swab. You have 7 weeks as a fourth class when you show up here to the academy. We want to make sure that you get the basic building blocks that will carry you through for the rest of your 200 weeks and beyond. So you are taught by the upper class here on very important lessons that you will never forget. Guarantee you will never forget everything that you learned during swab summer. It all has a purpose. So that's a very intense and aggressive period of time of your life, which is testing you and preparing you and setting you up for success for the rest of your career. So very important building block for swab summer, 7 weeks. And then you get to go out on America's Tall Ship, the Eagle, and you'll see that up in the right-hand corner of your screen. America's Tall Ship, Bark Eagle, is an awesome experience. So you get a little bit of a taste of that in 1 week on board, and you get to learn about yourself, learn about your classmates, learn about working as a member of a team on that historic ship. So pretty cool opportunity. And then you go right into the academic year, and you do what you got to do academically. So that's your first summer experience here as a fourth class. Then when you transition from your freshman or fourth class year into your sophomore or third class year, it's a little more fun. You get to go out on Eagle again. Half the class will go out on Eagle for 6 weeks. The other half of the class will go to various Coast Guard units across the service and serve as an enlisted member. See what it's like to be an enlisted member, and work the tough jobs that the enlisted members work, and learn from them and build your understanding of what the Coast Guard is all about. And then there's a flop. The folks that were on Eagle will go to the Coast Guard units, and the folks that were in the Coast Guard units for those first 6 weeks will go to Eagle. And pretty awesome opportunity. Eagle is super cool during the 6 weeks because more likely than not, you'll cross the Atlantic, or you'll go down to the Caribbean, or you'll go somewhere unique. And I know when I went on Eagle for my third class year, we flew C-130, Coast Guard C-130 over to Spain, offloaded in Cadiz, Spain, or Rota, Spain. And then we sailed the Eagle from Rota, Spain to the island of Madeira, and then sailed it across the Atlantic to the Bermuda. And then from Bermuda, we sailed it all the way back to New London. And the very next day we were starting classes. So it was a huge and very important experience. And we all grew from it, and a great opportunity to learn about yourself, your classmates, and that liking for the sea and its lore on this historic ship. So pretty cool opportunity. And then from your third class year, you're transitioning into your leadership role. A very significant leadership role is your second class or your junior year. And that's when you become a cadre member. And cadre is basically teaching the basic building blocks for the fourth class or for our other summer programs. And they take a pretty important leadership role there. So that's a significant part of your development, is learning about yourself as a leader and working with your classmates to lead others and making sure that they get the lessons that are necessary. In addition to that cadre experience, you get to go to aviation training. You go to an air station, or even our training center for aviation down in Mobile, Alabama, and you learn about aviation, fixed wing and rotary wing. And that's pretty cool. You get to actually fly an aircraft and learn what it's like at an air station. Very cool. And then we also want you to be weapons qualified. So rifle and pistol qualifications, you get to shoot guns and learn how to load ammunition and do all the amazing things associated with that. And then we also give you an opportunity to go on the coastal sailing program. Coastal sail is like a dream come true. You've got a 44-foot sailboat with 5 of your friends, and you get to go out and sail around the Massachusetts Islands and learn about power under sail, as well as anchorage, as well as navigation. And you guys are doing it all on this sailing craft. I mean, people spend big money to do this stuff, and you're doing it for free as part of your summer training. But it's great to learn about all the things that you'll learn, and you get to see a lot of New England that way as well. You also get a step up on your qualifications prior to graduation. Understanding the rules of the road is very important. You'll learn about that if you haven't already, but that's an important part of your development and it will be forever an important part of your afloat career. And then you get some time off, 3 weeks of personal leave. And I know you guys are like, what's that? It will be very important to you later on in life. Personal leave is important. You guys just call it weekends or summer vacation now, but personal leave is an important factor in your military experience. And then as a first class, when you transition from your second class experience of leading others, developing others, as a first class, you're in that more senior leadership role where you have the larger picture. But before you start that experience, you go off to a Coast Guard unit for 12 weeks. You'll go to a Coast Guard cutter or a station or on an internship, and you'll develop as a junior officer. So it's kind of a pre-staging for what it would be like as an ensign, but you have the benefit of having ensigns to learn from. And that's a very important stepping stone in your development prior to coming back to the academy for your final year here as a leader of character in the Corps of Cadets. So very cool stuff. As you can see, there's 3 weeks of leave during that summer as well. But this is one of the greatest aspects of coming to the United States Coast Guard Academy is your summer experiences. You learn more during that time than you could ever imagine. And it's exciting to be able to be part of the Coast Guard in that capacity as a cadet. So cool stuff. So I talked a lot about leadership development, talked about academics, but then we also have a lot of athletes that are out there. So if you're an athlete and there's a Division III sport out there that you see listed there, this place is for you. So we have those 25 athletic men's and women's athletic teams that you can definitely join and be part of and contribute and do amazing things as a Coast Guard bear. And then we also have some Division I and co-ed varsity sports, sailing, pistol and rifle, very important. And those are on a higher level. When you're talking about competition, we have to be great sailors as a maritime institution, and we got to be good with the rifle and the pistol as members of the armed forces. So making sure we have the best in each of those areas is very important. Then we also have some club sports, and a club sport is basically a sport which is sponsored by a senior level member. And there's enough interest here at the academy that we can pull some folks together and we can compete on the club level. Because money is very tight and we only have so many personnel that we can draw from each of these sports, it's important that we have other opportunities for folks to compete in at a level that might not be as developed as the Division III or Division I, but it still is available for you. So rugby, triathlon, there's a ski club, ice hockey, boxing, I think is coming back, and then bowling. Those are some examples of club sports that aren't on the varsity level. But we do have about 63% of the student population here involved in intercollegiate sports. So that's a high population here. When you're talking about other institutions, they're not as the percentage of students involved in those types of sports is not as high. So pretty amazing when you think about all the things that we're able to do day in, day out with such a small school population. And that's important. For those that aren't necessarily athletically inclined, looking for other activities, there are a number of activities that you can take part in. And if you want to just join in and you're also involved in intercollegiate sport, there's a ton of activities. We have a musical production every spring, as well as every winter. So that's something that you can take part in. Aviation club, there's a drill team. There's a whole bunch of different activities that you can take part in and get credit for. Those are all listed there, and you can learn more about those as you do more research about the Coast Guard Academy. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that there's something for everybody here. So a typical day, as you can see, I won't go through every single line item, but as you can see, it's very structured. So this is mainly for your 4th class year or your freshman year. It's very regimented, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing because it starts to develop some good habits that you'll be able to live with, and you'll be able to develop and continue to carry forward throughout your Coast Guard career. So this is, like I said, focused on your freshman year. It's very structured, very regimented, and it's important. It's part of your development, and it's awesome. You'll appreciate it after your 4th class year. Your 4th class year, you're like, I need more time. But after your 4th class year, this will become something that you can base as kind of a guide, and it'll make sure that you hit those wickets and that you're always on time and that you're always ready to go and never late. So it's very important that those skill sets are developed. Now, here's the most important part of what our discussion is all about. So I talked about encouraging all of you to apply to the Coast Guard Academy. And I say this once again, you can't be in the conversation for consideration if you don't apply. So let's talk about some of the application requirements. We've made it very easy for all the folks that are interested in our application, 100% online. That's true for most schools, but it's one-stop shopping on our website. You'll be able to access that from even your phone to that extent. We ask for 3 letters of recommendation. That's from your math instructor, your English instructor, and from a coach and a guidance counselor as well. So the coach is optional. I throw that out there because if you have somebody that you really trust and you really get along with and you want them to speak on your behalf, it never hurts to add more than 3. But your guidance counselor, math instructor, and English instructor, those are the ones that we want to see that are required. So that's important. We also want to see your official high school transcripts so that we can track what courses that you're taking as well as your level of achievement in each of those courses. SATs and ACTs. I know this was a very difficult year for folks to be able to take those tests, but traditionally we've asked for those just as a guide. It's not an end-all be-all. We actually went test optional for our regular admissions applications. That was our second half, the applications that we looked at, and worked out pretty well. But it definitely helps us understand where you are in comparison to the rest of the country and the students that are taking similar courses. So that's important. That's part of our application as well. Physical fitness evaluation. That's a 3-part battery. And the 3 parts are 1.5 miles, push-ups and sit-ups. And those are that physical fitness exam or evaluation will be similar throughout your time here in the Coast Guard. So we're looking for, out of 300 points, as close to 300 points as you can get. So anything below 130 is not a good thing. That's the minimum score, 130 points. 300 points is the target. If you can get that, amazing. Typically, the average is around 210 plus or minus, but for the most part, all it takes is practice. You have the answers to that test before you even take it. So work toward maxing out those points as best as possible. Personal statements are very important because it tells a little bit about you, who you are, what your motivations are, and it gets us a deeper insight on why you're applying to the Coast Guard Academy. This year, we only asked for 2 required, and then there were 3 optional. A lot of folks that don't do the optional probably should have done the optional. So here's a hint: if you're applying and you see optional, do it. It's a good thing. And follow the prompts too, because a lot of folks don't follow the directions. So if you follow the directions to the T and you apply and you do the maximum amount, even the optional ones, you're going to do fine in our process. So no worries there. So age is another requirement between the ages of 17 and 22. So if you turn 23 the day after you report for swab summer, you're good to go. But if you're 23 years old prior to reporting aboard, then that's a no-go. And same if you're 16, when you show up on day 1, you have to be 17. So pretty easy there. Minimum height requirement, 60 inches. And this shouldn't apply to anybody, but if anybody's married it's a non-starter for us for the academy. So single with no dependents, that's important. And then I talked a lot about athletes, but we also focus a lot on musicians as well. So you could be recruited for your musical talents, whether it's chorus or a band or a musical instrument, as well as being an athlete. We have a huge number of folks that get recruited, and it helps out our application process because we know who can contribute in the process there. So that's important. Talking to the coaches, talking to the musicians and who's running the bands, that's important because they'll write you a recruiting letter and get you into the applicant pool. And when we look at applications, we look at academics, leadership, and athletics or talents in general. So the most important of the first two, academics and leadership. Across the board, we look at the student's ability to achieve in the classroom. And how do we determine that? We look at the coursework that they're taking. Are they challenging themselves in the coursework? And then we also look at their grade point average. So if you have the ability to take higher level courses, but you're not taking those higher level courses and you're not getting good grades, then that's probably going to be a challenge for you when you show up for fourth class year. So we factored that into our decisions. Understanding it's a highly selective process. We want folks that are set up best to achieve success in their fourth class year at the minimum. So some of those courses that we're looking for: chemistry, calculus, and physics. So pre-calc is good for us too, but we at least want to see some demonstration by the time that you're a senior in chemistry, calculus, and physics. That's important. So strong GPA, taking challenging coursework in those courses that I just talked about, those are very important factors when we consider academics in your when we review your application. You notice I didn't talk about SATs or ACTs. Well, that's kind of where we're going. We're trying to work toward focusing on the coursework as well as how you're doing in those courses, okay? And what courses that you took. And then the other piece is the leadership. I talked about this early on when we were talking about the Sea Scouts. You're demonstrating leadership right now in the positions that you have, what you're doing in the community, how involved that you are with the Scouts. Have that shine when you're talking about your personal experiences, when you're writing about the things that make you excited. That's important, and that goes a lot further than if you're just applying and you haven't really done anything to expand outside your backyard. So understand community service is important. Employment, if you have a job, not only is it the job that you're doing, but what position in the job that you have. Those are all pieces that show leadership. In addition to extracurricular activities, if you're a president of a club or you're class president, those are all leadership opportunities that you've gone out and put yourself out there and challenge yourself. And that definitely helps us understand who's working hard and who wants to be that leader of character here at the Coast Guard Academy. Athletics also very important, as I talked about, as well as the musical talents. These are the extras. You know, what else are you bringing to the table other than academics and leadership? If you can contribute to one of those 25 athletic teams or to the band or to our it's called the Windjammers. They work at all the athletic events. That's important to us because we need people that can contribute to the academy on a variety of different levels. And that's a very important factor in our review of what you're bringing to the academy and what you're going to bring to the service as a whole. So that's how we look at each application. We look at 100% of those applications and we factor them and we give them all the benefit of our review. And I get excited when I look at applications. I look at over 2,000 applications every single year, and it's very hard for us to make a determination on who gets to come to the Coast Guard Academy, who doesn't. But there are certain factors that shine over others, and it's like, all right, we love them all, but this person really stood out because they demonstrated all the different pieces that we were looking for, and they're going to contribute to the academy, they're going to contribute to the service, and they're going to succeed here. And that's an important piece when we do our review. So the application in itself, this is to the United States Coast Guard Academy. We started our applications this past year. July 15th is when we opened, so that's a pretty good start point. You're on break for the summer, so it gives you some time to look at it. We have two different application pools. Our early action application pool is typically the folks that have met the physics, chemistry, calculus. They're performing well in their physical fitness. They've demonstrated all the things that they want to demonstrate, and they're ready to submit their application. They've got nothing else to prove to us. They submit their application by October 15th, and we guarantee them a notification on our decision by December 23rd, just before the Christmas holiday. So that's the first section. It's a non-binding agreement with early action. You can get selected for early action and wait until the deadline of May 1st to make a decision. So we're always on the edge of our seat waiting for those early action applicants to give us a decision. The outcomes of the early action would be appoint, do not appoint, or regular admissions. We can like a candidate, but we can only select a certain percentage from the early action candidate pool. So we'll say, hey, we like you, but we want to see your first semester grades and see some improvement there. And then we'll put you in the regular admissions applicant pool, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then you can compete against those students. The other selection is our CGAS, or our Coast Guard Academy Scholars Program. And that's a one-year prep school opportunity that will select students to attend. And they'll go for 1 year of prepping them in academics, or whether it's military preparation or combination of the two, or even athletic preparation. So those are all things that we want to see from a candidate. They've written amazing about why they want to serve in the Coast Guard. They're demonstrating that leadership skill set, but we want to offer them a prep school year prior to them going to the Coast Guard Academy, and it really improves their ability to get through that first year. As I talked about, I went through the Naval Academy Prep School. It was exactly what the CGAS program is now, but now the program is so successful that we've expanded it from just one school sending students to 3 schools. And we can select up to 70 students in a candidate pool to go to the CGAS program. And that will make up the following year's class. So pretty exciting in that respect. Not only do we get to select the 250 students for the incoming class, but we can select up to 70 additional students from that candidate pool for the following year's class with a year of prep. So pretty cool opportunity there. Regular admissions is the second candidate pool that we'll look at, and we're looking at regular admissions right now. We're finishing up those regular admissions applicant reviews for the deadline of April 1st, but January 15th was when the regular admissions applicant pool is, we're expecting that deadline to hit. And typically that gives those seniors 1 semester to demonstrate academic improvement, or show all the things that they need to do. And then they can apply in January, get their application in, and we'll review that. Notifications will be by the 1st of April. Outcomes of that: appoint. We have a wait list at this point because we would make all our appointments, and it's just a matter of who accepts their appointment. We can apply to the Coast Guard Academy Scholars Program. That would be another appointment, or do not appoint. And that's the dreaded one. Although the vast majority of the applicants get do not appoints for the most part, or they're on the wait list because we want to see them compete. But a do not appoint does not mean that you're a horrible student. That's not the fact at all. The fact of the matter is we have more applicants than we have opportunities to select. And as I said early on, about 13% of the applicant pool actually gets selected. So it makes our job really hard. It makes it really hard because we have to look for those skill sets. We have to look for those talents. We have to look for those amazing folks that really shine to make those appointments. And unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to take everybody, although I want to take everybody because they're incredible applicants. Student enrollment decision is by May 1st. So right now, anybody that got early action appointment for the class of 2025, the vast majority of those folks have not given us a decision. So I'm waiting until May 1st, because that's the way that it's supposed to work. They're looking at all their other options and making a determination of whether or not they want to come to the Coast Guard Academy. And so we know that we need the students more than they need us. You know, we're getting some amazing applicants. We know they have many choices. So we try to influence that thought by giving them programs and doing briefs and showing them sides of the academy that they may not have been exposed to. COVID has made it very hard for us to bring students to campus, but this week we are now opening up our campus to student visits for the folks that were appointed. So that's pretty exciting. And that's something that Emily does, is make sure that the students understand what it is that this campus is all about and what the school is all about. And they hear it from the instructors and coaches and from the cadets themselves and from even officers out there in the field who are serving. And we want to make sure everybody's as informed as possible so they can make that final decision of whether or not they're coming here. And we have a very high acceptance rate, and that's good. So that's what we're here to do, and that's important. So the class of 2025 is scheduled to report for SWAB summer as fourth class on the 28th of June. And so we're excited for that. We're excited to see them come through the gates, and we want to start their summer programs COVID-free, hopefully, and then we move forward and they start their 200 weeks of leaders of character development. Pretty exciting stuff. So there's our website there at the bottom, uscga.edu admissions. But I have one other slide for you, and this is the Academy Introduction Mission. And I know that was talked about early on before we started presenting, but the Academy Introduction Mission, or AIM, is a one-week summer program specifically designed for rising juniors. So anybody that's a junior now can apply to AIM, and the application for this AIM program, it closes on the 15th of April. We extended it a little bit because we were running into some computer issues, and we wanted to make sure that potential applicants had as many opportunities to apply as possible. So we extended it a couple of weeks. 15th of April is when the deadline is. But AIM is there to assist selected students with an understanding of the Coast Guard Academy, an understanding of service academy life in general, and basic engineering concepts that you would learn here at the Coast Guard Academy. So it's really a reality-based opportunity for students to test what it's like to go to a service academy. And it's awesome. Last year, we had to go to a virtual AIM, and it was highly successful. We had the highest numbers in AIM program history last year, just because it was all virtual. We offered three different weeks for students to apply to, but your program would be 1 week long, and you'd get military training, learn about the academy, as well as learn about engineering through practical exercises. It's a highly energized opportunity to learn about the academy, and it's pretty much run by the cadets, the upper class, the cadre. They run it, and you learn directly from them, and it helps us with getting you as informed as possible of what the academy is all about. The website for AIM is very similar to the last website that I just sent out that showed you from the last, with the exception of it's AIM specific. So www.uscga.edu/AIM/. So that will give you some additional information about the Academy Introduction Mission. And it's something that is very important to us, very important to the Coast Guard. And we hope that if you're a junior this year, that you apply. If you're a junior next year, we hope you apply. But it's specifically designed for juniors. All right, I think I've gone over my time, but I will, without question, open up the opportunity. If you haven't asked any questions through Lieutenant Junior Grade Hu or Lieutenant Junior Grade Torsney, you're more than welcome to ask questions to me, and I will try to unshare my screen, and we can do questions and answers.